going. So just kind of an overview, why these kids are privileged. Child trafficking. Child trafficking is a significant issue in Bangladesh, India, and Thailand. And the victims are into forced labor, commercial sexual exploitation, both domestically and across the border. Trafficking networks are driven by poverty, lack of opportunity, vulnerability, and including that of a refugee population. Bangladesh is a major source, destination, and transit country for child trafficking. Children, especially girls, are commonly trafficked for domestic work or commercial sexual work, while boys are forced into manufacturing sweatshops, particularly in India and Pakistan. So these children, you're going to see a bunch of children, and we don't have all the kids there. There was 170 some kids there, and obviously we don't have pictures of everyone. These kids, if they were not at that school, that would be their future, this child trafficking. Because all these children that you'll see today are children actually that were not wanted. And so children that are not wanted over there are abandoned, they're left out in the streets, and they get into the wrong hands of the wrong people. And so these children are very fortunate to be there, and they know that, and they understand that the situation's not good. One thing is, we were there during the Christmas holidays, and some of the parents, usually they get the kids because there's one or other of the parents has died, or they're in extreme poverty. They can't afford the kids, they can't feed them. So these kids are vulnerable. They're poverty-stricken, they're vulnerable to child trafficking. And so one of the parents may have died and passed away, and so the other parent brings them, says, we can't take them. A lot of these kids never ever see the parent again. Sometimes they have come back to see how the kids are doing. Christmas holiday, there was probably about 3 or 4 that went home. The rest of the kids say, we don't want to go home. We don't want to be there, we don't want to go home. So Bangla Hope is a place of refuge for them. So you will see what we saw. Okay.
This was one of the, a huge privilege for us. I've never been to a place where I've seen so much love. These little kids, most of them have been there from birth or early on, and all they know is love. It's almost to the degree that they're vulnerable because they're so trusting, so loving. It's just truly amazing. And so anyway, Patty put this all together. And this is just, like you said, you can't begin to show all the pictures. This little bald-headed baby right there is the newest one. And she just came there about 3 weeks ago. And she is 8 months old. And she may or may not be spoken for, we don't know. And anyway, so that's the babies. These are the older kids. And the one right there in the middle with the flowers, that's our little girl. That's Mimi. And here's some of the older ones. The girl in the blue jacket, I'll tell you more about her later. She's, I'll just tell you now. I will. There's a picture of her later with her 2 siblings.
I just want to interject. These kids have been there since they've been so high. And now most of these ones are starting college.
Yeah. So Bangla Hope, they take these kids from birth on. A lot of them here have been there since birth. But when they grow up, they're not abandoned. They just keep helping these kids. They help them go to the university. They have to go to Thailand or India or somewhere else because they only are through 12th grade here. But anyway, that girl in the blue, I'll show you pictures later. Her and her 2 siblings, I think she's the oldest one, and because she's a girl, nobody wants them. And so girls have no value because parents have to pay a dowry to get rid of them. And it's so stupid. The dowry may be the boy says, I want a new color TV, or I want a motorcycle. So you're trading a child for, anyway, it's hard to take. But anyway, her and her two siblings were given away at birth because they were girls. And then the parents got frustrated because they kept having girls, so they just buried them. And so you look at her and her two siblings, and you just try to imagine what these other children that were buried alive would be. I mean, it's truly amazing. But they were brought here, and this is their mission statement. It says, changing lives one child at a time. And their vision is to prepare those who serve for a successful life now and for the future, to provide for the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being of vulnerable children, youth, women in Bangladesh. And they're doing an amazing job of that. This is the sign as you come into the compound. It is an all fenced compound just for safety. And that's just the van. You go back and forth. This is, you can see this, the fence that goes around the compound. It's about 4 acres there, and then the village is on the outside of that wall. The kids, they love to go for walks. They nearly walked our legs off when we were there. The reason is they can only go outside the compound if there's an adult with them. And so they're at 170 kids, there's not really enough adults to go around. So we were well used. And go ahead.
One girl wanted to go on a walk at 5:30 in the morning. And I asked the other girls, 5:30 in the morning? And they said, don't go, it's dark. You won't see nothing. And so I told her, that's too early. She wasn't happy with it.
Oh, let's see that. Okay, this is a school. They actually have 12 different schools that are satellite schools for the other village kids. And the kids that come here to these schools, they get fed lunch every day, and most likely it's the only meal they'll have all day. These schools, all the teachers in the schools are Adventists, including these village schools, and they have anywhere from 25 or so, 25, 30 kids in each one of these. This is Robin Griffin, and he is the one, him and his wife are the one that are running this. They have been there for the last 11 years. And when you are the parent to 170 kids, you never have any time of your own. When they actually have a light outside the door, green, yellow, red. Green, you're welcome to come in. Yellow, emergencies only. Red, off limits. They don't knock. I mean, they have to do that because there's just never any time of your own. And actually, his wife Robin loves it. I mean, he loves being a parent to 170 kids, but his wife struggles with it a bit more, and she's really getting worn out. Like I said, they don't have a home here in the U.S. They sold that. This is their home. This is where they live. They are parents to those children. This is the dining hall. This is a classroom, typical classrooms. You can see everyone's different, anywhere from, I think the smallest ones like maybe have 8 kids, and some of them have as many as 20, 25. On the left side there, the first floor, that's where the dining hall is. Above that is offices and classrooms. And on the right, first floor, that is the boys' dormitory area. It's much smaller because there's not that many boys because they are of more value, according to them. And this is just an overview. It's that same building from a little ways off. They've been there since 2002, and all of this has been built since then. And some of these are pretty good sized buildings. donors. They have no support other than just people who donate. And, each child, they try to get a sponsor for each child, and, that's what they survive off of also. But anyway, the church is not donate anything at all. This is the girls' dorm, and you can see there's bars on everything. At bedtime is 9 o'clock, and the doors are locked for their safety. It's a good-sized girls' dorm. And it's also, this is where the nursery is, and all the little kids, they're all here. Here's a picture of some of we could show you pictures all day long of kids, but you weren't there, so it's not that meaningful to you, but it's meaningful to us. They really went all out for Christmas. They had lights everywhere. This building in the middle, we stayed on the bottom floor of that, and the upper floor is also administration and housing. This is staff housing, and like I said, this is all built in the last 22 years.
So Robin is the staff, Bangladesh, or
Yes. Robin and his wife are the only Americans. They're the only Caucasian. Everybody else is national. The teachers are all Adventists, and the others are not. But everybody, all staff is required to go to worship every morning. The first morning, whether the first or second morning, they asked me to give worship, which I did. And I thought, all these wonderful people, I gave them a talk on Ephesians chapter 1 and 2, and it was just like right over the head. And only one person even brought their Bible. I go, oh, wow. Anyway, then Robin was telling me later, 90% of them are Hindus. They didn't understand, or Muslim. They didn't understand the thing you said. I go, wow, I wish somebody had told me that before I started. But it's interesting. The kids have morning and evening worship. And the little kids, especially the boys, are the ones that lead out. You have these 6, 7, 8-year-olds, they're leading out in worship. They are leading out in singing, and then after singing, they have prayer, and then a few of them will get up and they'll recite, several different like Psalms or whatever else. And I just thought it was interesting. Here's all the older kids, but it's the little kids that are leading out in worship. Pretty cool. This is their church. Somebody from Tri-Cities donated $100,000, and that got it started. This is a lot more than $100,000, but it's a very, very nice church. And that is the newest baby. No, that isn't. That is one of the teachers' babies.
That's one of the teachers.
Yeah. And they're all required to come to all the meetings. It's all assigned seating. That way they can see who's there and who's not. And there is an English Sabbath school class mainly attended by the college-age kids. But this is a little tiny apartment, and they'll have 50 people squeezed in there. There was 2 student missionaries there. They're both from Southern. Lovely young people doing a wonderful job of teaching those kids. They love flowers, and they have flower gardens everywhere. And, okay. That's not them. Here's a picture of their gardens. The kids work. They have rice, and the kids are out there planting rice, harvesting rice, and all those other type of things. This is a garden. It's actually within the school compound, but not owned by one of the teachers. Somebody else raises vegetables and sells it to them. Just another picture. This is rice after it's been threshed. This is what they feed their cows. This is what they start their fires with. And here are those cows. At home we're vegan. Abroad we are not. but actually they're better looking cows than some of the cows around here if you've been out on Spanish Prairie Road. Those sacks of rice weigh 150 pounds, and this is just from the harvest this year, and some of them already been hauled off. They do have a big pond there, and they pump it up to the fields, and this is the rice paddies. This is where they cook the food for the kids. It's rather smoky in there. It's all wood fired. Yes? It's a brown rice, and then they sell it. And then it all goes processed, and they can bring it all back, and they eat white rice.
Yeah. Well, that's normal, but like, is it basmati rice, or is it like, or do you know?
That I don't know.
This rice? I was just curious.
It seemed like a long grain rice, a long grain brown rice. But anyway, I thought it was unfortunate that they didn't use their own. But this is where they cook for the kids. The kids eat essentially the same thing 3 times a day. It's rice with a little curry or something on top of it, or some vegetables. Not a lot of vegetables over there. It's mainly just rice. This is a lady working on lunch for the kids. And the kids help out with the cooking and everything else. You can't see it very good, but it looks like a sickle there. And that's how they slice all their cabbage, all the tomatoes, everything else. And they're really fast with it. It's amazing. It's fast enough to cut all that vegetables, but they don't get their hands cut. This is where they cooked our meals. Our meals are a lot more varied than theirs. This is the kids' playground. That's a swing set with no swings. And I want you to notice the rust. It is amazing. It doesn't seem like it's safe for those kids to even walk across this stuff. This is the swing sets, and the church donated money to have these swing sets, some new seats, and brought up to par. Loving kids. They're just amazing. There was a teeter-totter with only half a teeter-totter. And you can see, this is the swing set. You can see how rusty it is. This is this climbing thing, from the kids to climb on. And look they're going to tear their hands up on this stuff. This is a closer picture of the ramp that goes over to the slide, and it's like, I hate for kids to even be walking across this thing. There's not enough metal left to hold them hardly. No, it's that wet. It's just wet. Everything rusts. No, this is way inland, but it's just wet. So, they really need this stuff replaced. Another picture of that wonderful thing. It really needs to be plastic coated or something. Yeah. Now this is 9 Square. This is what the church donated. Have you played 9 Square? Do you know what it is? Yeah, it is a fun game. And the interesting thing is that, here's kids playing. They're probably about 5 years old, along with the others who are 15, 18 years old. But everybody gets in there and plays together.
Before the church donated the money to get those poles, they used bamboo poles all the time, but bamboo never stood up. They got broken all the time. So they were so excited. And the kid says, thank the church for getting us these. Now we have something we can play with.
And you only see the backside of this guy, but the guy in the shirt and black shorts, he's lived there all his life also. And he started out working in the fields and in the gardens, and then he progressed, and then he went to the shop and started learning to weld and whatever. And he threaded all those pipes, welded everything up, a talented young man. But the kids loved this game. And like I said, you can see the line of kids lined up. I mean, 20 people can play this game and still have fun because it's so fast moving.
So how do you play?
So you work your way through it?
You work your way through. So the guy in the middle, he will throw the ball up and has to go into one of the other squares. And if it goes through the pipes in that square, then that person hits it up to the next one or whatever. And if you miss it, or you hit it outside the square, then you're out, and everybody rotates. It is a fun game. You can see even an old man out there playing. It was a great. And this is just some of the boys. There's not lots of them, but they love to rollerblade. They don't have that many pairs of rollerblades, but everybody uses them. It doesn't seem to make any difference what size your feet are. I couldn't believe it, and they do a good job. This is making Christmas cookies. They really do all they can to make those kids have a happy home. What's wrong with?
I don't know.
What's wrong with
Come that way.
the picture?
The tree or the picture?
Oh, the trees?
Just one tree, I don't know.
That's a bad picture. Yeah. And here we are going for walks. I mean, they just, they love to walk. They don't have a lot of clothes there. And it's cold. It gets down to low 50s during the day. And all they have, you'll see kids in shorts and a t-shirt. And I'm got a jacket on and I'm none too warm. And so it's tough for them. This is just another one of our Sabbath walks. They have a lot of ponds over there because in their summer it rains a lot. These ponds fill up, and then they pump the water out to irrigate their rice paddies. These typical village scenes. They all cook on. They have these stoves. You can't see them really well, but they're just made out of mud with a hole in the top. And then on the left side there, they poke sticks and straw and whatever else, and that's what they cook with. This is the most common commodity of all Bangladesh. It's called manure. I don't know where, there's plenty of cows there, but it seems like there's more manure than there is cows. And they gather all this stuff up, they put water to it, and they either stomp it with their feet or squeeze it with their hands. And they put it on those sticks there, and that's what they cook with. Very nice. But that's their stove. And there's somebody cooking lunch. But it's amazing that they can cook their meals. They mainly use just that manure and straw. That's what they cook with.
It also smells wonderful.
Probably. But I mean, you see that manure, they make like pancakes out of it. They put it on trees, or maybe they just make balls of the stuff. And everywhere you go down the sides of the road, there's just all this manure drying. Was it? No, not bad. Not bad at all. I don't like spice. It was fine for me. We went and took blankets and clothing. Bonnie has knitted a lot of blankets and stuff. And we took a great big bag with us. And we just walked around the villages and stuff and looked for people with babies and gave them out. How old do you think she is? She can't be more than about 14. She's already a mother. So she got a new blanket for her baby. Thank you, Bonnie. And so it's really interesting. There's no such thing as personal space. You can be out walking, and you walk through a village, and the kids, the kids that live there all their lives, they know everybody, and they'll just decide that they want to visit so-and-so. They'll open the gate, walk right on in. We were there on, I think it was Sunday morning, and we were out for a walk, and the kids decided to go into these people's places. We went in there, and they'd been making these, I don't know what they were. They were just little pieces of bread that were sweet. And they went in there and helped themselves and gave it to all of us. And there's about 15, 20 of us. And I go, maybe they were cooking for the week, I don't know. But now it's all gone. And I mean, they'll walk right into somebody's house. They'll pick up a glass, get a drink of water. They'll go over, pick up the baby and hand the baby around. There's no personal space. I guess it's because they were raised in an orphanage with no space. But you can walk out through the rice paddies. You can walk anywhere you want, and it doesn't matter whose it belongs to. It just doesn't matter. Typical kids, they love to take pictures. Patty wasn't as free with them as I was. I just let them have my phone. And Patty was afraid they'd mess hers up. But I figured, oh well, it's the least I can do to let them have a toy for a while. They did mess up a few things, but it's all right. So the yellow there, that's mustard. So we had to look for some place with color. The kids, particularly this one there on the left, her name is Heidi, and she would watch for me from the girls' dorm, from the porch. And as soon as our door opened, she was over there in a heartbeat. And I don't know if Patty was jealous or not. I don't think so. But anyway, like I said, these are the most loving kids you can ever imagine. They have so little, but they are so loving. All right, that's the three. That's not the three? Okay. Patty knew the older girls better than I did. But that's Brooke. That's one that the Griffins have sponsored since she was born. Is that not her sister? That's Faith. That's one of her siblings. These are college kids. The college kids. Went to town, go shopping. Ride in the back of this truck. This is a typical third world country shop. Shopping's all different. A lot of you guys know it because you've been around. You sit there and they throw all the stuff out there on the floor, and hopefully you're going to like something. If you're not, you just tell them no, and they start pulling out more and more and more. Typical street scene. Here's the nursery. An occupied bed. The older girls are mothers. They really love on those kids and take good care of them, and it makes me wonder how well they bond as they get older, but there doesn't seem to be any problem because these kids are just handed from girl to girl to girl, And like I said, all these girls are just mothers. That is the newest one.
So, Can you bring that down? So this is Titha. This little girl is Schlittenhardt's little girl. And so she's the newest one. She is just 8 months old. And these little kids, like he said, they're handed out, the girls, they just love on these kids. It goes from one to the other. And I don't think the little kids know who's whose. They obviously don't know who's mama. But everybody loves on them, and the little kids are well cared for.
So it doesn't seem to matter. These kids seem to be growing up just totally normal and loving. I mean, you don't see kids fighting. They just take care of each other and love each other. This is one of the dorm mothers for the little kids. That's little kids. And some of the kids got caught colds while we were there, and they got quarantined to their rooms, and so they were rather distraught. Right.
Now, these pictures here, that's in the little kids in the nursery area. Now, these little kids, they don't have what you call diapers there. And so the women that work in there, they are busy in the morning. I went there one morning, and they were getting the little boys up and stuff, and they were all sitting on their little potties. And obviously, during the night, everybody wets their beds, and so they were stripping all the beds down and wiping all their beds and stuff. So this is very busy. There's quite a few women that work here, and these are some of the Muslim women that come in and they work for them. But they're well cared for. This is the only place, the nursery and the little kids' rooms, the only place that there's heat. It was warm there.
Yeah, so everything else is rather cool, but also, so, like I said, these babies are just handed around. So they hand you a baby, and you realize that this is at risk. So you hold it for as long as it takes to be polite, and then give it to somebody else before you went through that risk. Here's where the ladies do all the washing for the nursery. They do have commercial washers, which is really nice because that's a lot of beds to do every day. And these kids, it's not like a lot of kids here. You get down on the floor, kneel down in front of them. They're not going to run away. They're going to run to you. They're just so amazing. I've never seen so much love in my life.
So let's go back to that other picture. Robin Griffin's wife, I was in there visiting with her, and she says, "Oh, by the way," she says, "you might want to check your hair before you leave." And so here, the women come that take care of the little ones. They're working with their hair, and lice is not unusual. In fact, Robin was sitting on those round circular things around a tree, and there were some kids there that were going. They were checking his hair to see if he had lice. Anyway, thankfully, we had no hitchhikers in our stuff. Everything stayed there.
They do have fleas, but the kids don't have fleas, but there's lots of dogs, and the dogs do have fleas.
Okay, these are the twins.
Okay, those are the twins, and that is the sister. Well, here they are. That's the three of them. Those are the three girls that were the first to be born, so they were given away. That's them again. So, like I said, those three girls are the fortunate ones.
That one over there, she's Alicia, and then Brooke and Brittany. And they're the fortunate ones. And they all three are now in college. They've been there since they've been born. The two previous girls are twins, and they were brought, their mom died in childbirth, and they were brought there as soon as they were born, they were brought there, never left there. That's their home.
So there just is a lot more pictures of kids. And that is it. You know, like I said, we could show you a lot more, but when you go, it is a lot more meaningful to you than it is to anybody else. And so that's just what we wanted to show you. You know, these loving kids, they have so little, that need so much. But, yes, Lanita.
Does anybody have questions?
We can hear.
I just was wondering, is Bangla Hope also connected with Child Attack?
No, it's totally separate. Yeah, this was started in 2002 by an older couple, and somebody came and brought them a newborn, and then a couple months later, somebody else brought them another couple, babies, and it just grew from there.
So these kids have been there since the beginning. And so you look at them, and they could have been out on the street traffic. Who knows where they'd be?
Or buried alive.
Yeah.
Bonnie?
Beautiful kids. They were gorgeous.
My question is, do they ever know their circumstances before they came here?
Bangla Hope keeps record. They keeps record, and they will tell the kids.
When they're old enough, they can tell them where they could have been if they weren't there?
Yeah, there's no secrets, you know. And like there's the one girl there, she was dropped off because her mother died, and dad did not want or could not care for her, so he dropped her off. She was a couple years old, and he still lives in the same area. He remarried, has children, has never ever been back to see her. And it's kind of, here in America, a conversation is, do you have any brothers or sisters? Or you talk about family and those type of things. You don't do that over there because, here, because it's all the same story. They were abandoned by somebody sometime, and but they don't seem to be affected by it. Some of them, most of them, in fact, like Patty was saying, even if they do have a parent still, they give them an opportunity to go back to their parent over like Christmas break or whatever, but most of them don't want to go because it's not a pleasant situation. So anyway, we were privileged to be able to go, and we are thankful to be able to help out one of the little girls there. We wish we could help out a lot more. I could have brought a whole lot of them home. Like I said, I've never seen love in such a powerful way in my whole life. These kids are just the most loving thing, and they have so little, but they're not affected by it. There's no toys on campus except like for the older kids, they had badminton, they had soccer balls, they had 9 square, 4 square, but the little kids, there's really nothing.
Work duties, 3 hours a day. They do work duties.
I'm talking about toys. There's no toys. There's nothing for them to play with. They do have, as they get older, they do have work duties, and they're supposed to work 3 hours a day. But, yes, Christine.
Go to college and then have careers that they leave the compound and live on their own, or how does that?
That's the hope. They've only been going, since 2002, and so some of those girls like Brooke, they're some of the oldest ones, and yes, they are away at university, and some of the others, they have, graduated from the university, have become nurses, and seems like nurses and computer stuff, that's the two main things that they do. I mean, the whole goal is to raise these children just like we want for our children, to be able to be successful and be able to take care of themselves. But another thing is, this, Bangladesh is 91% Muslim. Very, very difficult place to work. But these little kids, they come to Bangla Hope and because they know nothing different other than they were raised as Adventists. So there you go. There's 170 little Adventists there in a country of mainly Hindu. So
How do you put this down? How many were here when we showed that video for story, the kid's story? Anybody seen that video? Remember seeing that video? And there was a little girl at the very beginning. She had a little blue dress on, and they kind of featured her. I don't remember what her name was. It was a little girl. Huh? Tisha? No. Anyway, it was that little girl. That little girl now is in dentistry. She was abandoned, and she came there, and she grew up there, and now she's taking dentistry. So, you know, they're given opportunities. They're going to the Philippines. So they're going to all Adventist universities, and they're going to the Adventist one in the Philippines, Thailand, and 2 of them in India, and there's Adventist in Dhaka. And so they are going as doctors, nurses, teachers, computer programming. Business seems to be a popular thing. In December, they had about 5 girls graduating from the nursing program and are ready to take their boards. So these are kids that had no opportunity, and now they have a future. So we're thankful for places like Bangla Hope. Gives some kids a chance.
the money goes, it depends on what things it is. Some of the food's more expensive. One of the guys that went to market with us, we were buying some things for our girls, and you can buy a top and pants, just that little thin stuff like they wear there. You can buy that for about $1.50, you know, and then, but they're not all completed. You take them back to the school, and there's people there at the school that will sew them up for them. But so the clothes are cheaper. Food seems like it's more expensive. One of the guys, you know, like I said, that went with us, we had bought stuff for our girls, but we really, when you have 170 of these kids, and like I said, they are so loving, you just want to do something for them. And he says, well, you need to buy them a candy bar. I go, okay, no problem. It needs to be chocolate, but not just plain chocolate. It needs to have some nuts and whatever else in it. And I go, well, no problem. We can do that. So we went, and he says, you need 400 of them. Okay. Well, there's 170 kids, and with staff, you know, probably a little over 200, maybe 250. You know. And there's a bunch of those that are babies. They're not going to get it. But anyway, so, well, maybe 350. And so I start looking, and you know how big a Twix bar is? You know, it's about, 3/4 of an inch by 3 inches and 1/4 inch thick. $1.50. And I go, Luke, this is not a good idea. So they never got a candy bar from us. So I wouldn't pay $1.50 for that little thing at home, let alone over there, And fuel, those type of things are more expensive. Clothes seem to be cheaper. What's that? What's their needs? I think I think the things that I see the most that they need a playground, especially for the children. The older kids, they can play soccer, they can play, some of these other games, 9 square, 4 square, but the little kids, they just don't have anything. So, I mean, you saw what they have, and it's just not even safe. The kids need a playground. It's pretty hard to do, but the kids could use warmer clothes, because other than the nursery, the buildings are not heated. Yeah, Jeannie. There are. You have to look farther. But like Brooke, you saw she was wearing a North Face down jacket. You can get the things, but they are harder to find. Yeah. It's actually better to what's that? You didn't hear?
Well, so my question is, how does the sponsoring a child work? So we've sponsored kids through other programs before. We have actually Chloe and Nathan each have a sponsored child. And it's difficult to actually know that they're getting stuff that you send them. I was just wondering, and then they also, how do they keep it fair? So if we were to sponsor this baby that is lined up for us, how's that going to work? And then also, can we send her special gifts, or do we need to send everybody something so it's fair? These different countries have different cultures on how all of that works. I was just curious about that.
You can send them a special gift, but postage is ridiculously expensive. You will pay more for postage than you spent on whatever it is. So what we have, when we first got started, when Mimi was younger, we did send her stuff, but it just, you have to pay duty and the terrible postage. So what we do, we send money to Bangla Hope, and it is earmarked for that child, and it will only be used for that child. And some people are, somebody sent their little girl $600. Well, she didn't know what to do with $600, and it was pretty well wasted. But they could have said, here's $600, give her $10 a month or $20 a month or something like that, and so. But if you specify it for that child, it will go to that child.
Another thing, like he said, it will go to the child because they'll have a fund for them. Another thing, when you're sponsoring a kid, they will have what is called pocket money. And you can put money into a pocket money, and then the pocket money is dispersed between the kids, because some kids don't get as much from their sponsor and stuff. So then they have money to get something for some of the other kids too. So there's that thing called pocket money and stuff. But if you send some to your kid, then it specifically goes to your kid.
So every kid gets one set of clothes twice a year. So whether they're sponsored or not.
So technically you could send them money and say, please buy her some new clothes, whatever. And then also, I had another question. What was it? I'll come back if I think of it.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for your attention. Thank you for tolerating us. Anytime you go and come home, you are all excited about what you've seen and done, and Yeah, you'd be welcome to go. It's a 46-hour itinerary. If things go well. I'll tell you what, the Lord is so good to us because we, it's an hour and a half, closer to 2 hours from Bangla Hope to the airport. And so we got there and, it's domestic flights at first, so you don't have to be there quite so early. So we got there an hour in advance and we thought, that's all good. We go in to check in, and the guy says, it's too early to check in. Your flight doesn't leave for another 3 hours. And I go, oh, yes, look at this paper. No, your flight doesn't leave until, we thought 5:41, and we were there at 4:30 or something. Your flight doesn't leave till 7:41. And because your flight was canceled, so you're on the next flight. And we go, well, that doesn't work, because if we miss this flight, then we miss our Dhaka flight, and this is our first flight. Our whole itinerary is trashed now. And he says, you've missed your flight. And so anyway, and this is small airport stuff, and there's 2 other desks. And he says, you've missed your flight because your flight doesn't leave till 7:41, and all the other flights on all these other airlines are booked solid. And it's true. I mean, there's so few flights, and these are small planes. They're 2 and 2 as far as seating. Everything's packed. And he says, I'm sorry. And anyway, so we went to one of the other counters and said, we need to get on to the next flight, which was only about an hour and a half away. And if we got on that one, we could, it was actually 2 hours away, but we had 2 hours layover in Dhaka. We could make our flight. I mean, it was going to be really, really close, but we could make our flight, technically. And so we went to that counter, and he says, well, we're full. I'll see what we can do. And I'll tell you, God is so good to us, because he just kept working and working and working, and he got us 2 seats. Now I don't know who didn't get to go, but we did get to go. And not only did he give us those 2 seats, but he gave us this, they load from the front door and the back door. And, our seats were the 2 at the very back door. And we said, is there any way that, and like I said, these are small planes, 2 and a 2. There's no, you can put your purse up there, but that's really all. And I said, is there any way we can keep our luggage and not have to check them in? And he said, sure. And so anyway, he said, we'll take care of it. He says, you wait over here. There's a VIP lounge that had padded chairs. He says, I'll call you when we're ready for you. And he did. We walked out, got into the plane. We gave him our luggage, and they put it somewhere. And he says, when you get off the plane, just ask for it, and we'll give it to you. So we got off the plane. They gave us our luggage. Didn't have to go check them or anything else, and got right to the next flight, and the rest of the flight was good all the way home. The Lord is so good to us. They seemed to run smooth. They were clean, and the amazing thing, this first flight from Saidpur to Dhaka was only an hour or less. They feed you on every flight. It's not bad. We did everything you're not supposed to do. We ate everything. We drank everything. Didn't worry about it. And we're kind of paranoid here at home, but over there we became one of them.
The only thing that I did is the little kids in the nursery gifted me their cold.
Yeah. Anyway, if you ever get a chance to go, you'll never regret it. It's a blessing. We are so blessed to live here, and the value of life of a child. You know, I mean, I look at Harrison and Chloe and think that if they didn't have parents, if they had parents over there, they might have been buried, especially Chloe. Sorry, Chloe. About $15,000 a ticket. No. I think it was $1,300. And then the domestic flight was another $100 each. So it's not terrible. Not terrible. So anyway, thank you for your tolerance. Thank you for your patience. And
Would the money to go be better spent?
that just depends on what it does to your heart. Yeah, I mean, they'll never run out of need for money, but it's more than just that. It's, you know, just like Slitton Hearts. They went on that trip, came back with a whole different view. That's where the value is. I mean, that's a big part of the value.
I would agree with that. My experiences with that, or our experiences with that, you can talk about it over here all you want to, but until you see it, experience it, you really don't understand, and you really don't have the appreciation for what we have here,
You don't.
and you don't have the sense of how horrible it can be for those people.
Yeah.
It was just like going to Vietnam and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're real excited because in March we're taking a trip with Slitton Hearts, and we're going to have a really, really good time. To Kenya. Yeah, so. All right. Well, let's have prayer. Heavenly Father, you have blessed us with the greatest gift of all, that of Jesus and the forgiveness and the hope of eternal life that we have. Father, the hope of eternal life is all that so many of your children here have. And we pray that this gospel can soon go to the whole world, that Jesus can come, and this sickness, this sadness, and all the horrible things that are happening to your children here can be forever ended. So, Father, bless us. Help us to be able to see the things that we can do for others, and may we be your hands and feet. In Jesus' name, amen.